Yes, well, we all know the HBL PSL is known for its incredible vast array of fast bowlers, and we know that wrist position and wrist is very important when it comes to fast bowling. So I thought I'd bring in ex-New Zealand international Simon Dool just to run us through exactly, why wrist spin and wrist position makes such a difference.
Yeah, we're going to talk about three different guys. And first and foremost, I'm going to talk about why the wrist position is so key and important. And it's all about getting a little bit more bounce and a little bit more out of the surface. We're going to take a look first and foremost at Islamabad. Now, he's been the standout performer at the start of the tournament so far. And one of the reasons why, when we look at his footage, is that wrist position is beautiful. It's right in behind the ball. He cocks that wrist. When I think about the greats, a McGrath, an Ambrose, those sorts of players, it's right in behind it, and he gets that little bit of pace from the flick of the wrist late in the piece. So you see the freeze now, and when you look at what happens after that, it just flicks. And what he gets is a little bit of extra pace and a little bit of extra bounce. So that's Islamabad. The reason we ask for bowlers, I guess, first and foremost, is to get right in behind it, is to get this position. That's what he does so well, flicks it, and it basically gathers a little bit of pace and a little bit of extra bounce because he's so nicely braced over his front leg. That's why he is ruffling feathers with a short ball and gets those Yorkers perfectly. Doesn't reverse it quite as much as some, though.
Oh, well, Islamabad obviously been very successful, leading wicket taker so far in the comp, but all right, that's right hand. And what about lefty, Wahab Riaz?
I'm going to change mics here. Wahab Riaz. So Wahab, if you think about a clock at home. So Islamabad was at 12 o'clock. I think Wahab is about 1 o'clock. We're going to take a look at his now, and as you roll through Wahab Riaz, you'll just see that he's slightly bent. It's slightly skewed towards, imagine, 1 o'clock on the clock face. And so what he's going to do, he doesn't swing the ball quite as much. When it comes out, you look at that seam position, it's probably around about, as I say, 1 o'clock, just a little bit angled, certainly not as straight. Wrist is not quite as behind as Islamabad. Come back and we'll take a bit of a look at that. What Wahab does well is he does swing the ball back into the right-handers with the new ball, but he gets a bit of reverse. Because he undercuts it slightly, gets a little bit of reverse. He too has got quite a supple wrist and gets a little bit of reverse swing, tails it late, but won't get the bounce, but is quite quick. And when he does get the bounce, it's quite skiddy. Remember, he ruffled Shane Watson up big time at the Adelaide Oval in one of those games, about 4, 5, 6 years ago. So he does get bounce, and it's quite skiddy because he's slightly lower and slightly more round arm. That will then produce reverse swing, but not as much reverse swing as some.
Ah, well, he's certainly been very successful for so many years, and surely that's got something to do with it. But lastly as well, an emerging player that came to the fore last year, Zaman Khan. What does he do differently?
Well, he's more 2 o'clock. And so I'll change back to the right hand because he's more about 2 o'clock, about this sort of position. Quite a round arm, quite slingy, a little bit Malinga-like. We'll take a look at Zaman Khan and just see where he releases the ball. It's really low, almost sort of in line with the umpire's chest, maybe the umpire's head, and get that slingy action. So for him, it is more about reverse swing when he lets the ball go. And imagine again that sort of saucer, maybe like a UFO type situation when the ball comes out, which means that it ducks back in. It's coming down the surface like this position here, and it means the reverse. So he's more of a reverse swing bowler, not really going to swing the new ball as much as Islamabad or some of the guys in this tournament. So you've got really straight in behind with Islamabad. You've got a little bit with Wahab about 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock with Zaman Khan. He is more adept at bowling at the back end of the innings. He's going to ram it into the toes, bowl those Yorkers. We saw that in the first game. He was successful, and to me, those are the three keys. No right or wrong in any of them. I mean, you just do what you do and do what you've been taught well. As long as the seam comes out in some way, shape or form, straight up and down, something will happen.
Oh, it's amazing how what a millimetre of difference can make such a massive impact. Dooley, thank you so much for your insight anytime. But let's get back to the studio for a couple of guys that were also very adept at using their wrists.